Live. Um, Happy Saturday, everyone. Reporting live from Paris. I have a few things on my mind. So just now, I posted a podcast I did with Crystal Kenny. She's an American turned Parisian. She came here many years ago. She's a creative. She's a photographer, and she helps people activate their creativity. And there's a lot of synergy with what I'm doing, right? And well, at least my ethos. I'm doing decision making for I mean advising in advising for decision makers who are wanting to lead with faith and not fear in the AI era. But generally speaking, I am absolutely encouraging people to take adaptive leaps, be open to change, be open to recreating themselves and re-envisioning their lives, their careers, their identities. Um, and yeah, Crystal encourages people and helps guide people and consults with folks who want to activate the creative in them. Maybe they want to get into writing, painting, etc. So she has a really great podcast out here in Paris. She talks to a lot of different creatives in the city, and a lot of them also moved to France from other countries. So you get to hear their different stories about them coming to France and also maybe transitioning into their creative sector. So I also give my Paris story, like how I manifested it, how it came to be. I give that story in the podcast as well. And I just think it's yeah, there's a lot of synergy with me encouraging people to really be open to changes and activating whatever latent potential is in them. Especially in this time, I think the AI era and all the changes that are coming with it is the perfect time for that. And also just all the global changes, all the 30,000 foot level changes. I can't even call it 30,000 foot level anymore. It's like galaxy level changes that are here, that are being ushered in this era. This is the time. This is the time to just say, you know what? Let's admit there is no blueprint anymore, at least for Western society. There's no blueprint anymore. Do whatever you want, do it how you wanna do it. Just try to do no harm. Try to follow the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not kill. But, like, just try to be halfway decent, please, while you decide that at this point, let's just do whatever we want because I just don't feel like there's any blueprint anymore. I mean, is there some conventional wisdom? I guess, yes. As a Christian, I would say yes, there is some conventional wisdom, but I said 10 commandments. But otherwise, really anything these systems were telling us, these systems are like falling and they are now being exposed as not credible or just not relevant anymore, or just not a fit anymore for for the world that's being ushered in. So, yeah, this is your time. And this is your time to say, okay, now let me just see how I can do things my way. And I don't mean like be so utterly irresponsible that you like leave your family or leave your kids, leave your wife or your husband. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, you know, but you're not absolved for responsibility because now you want to change course. That's what I'm saying. But I am saying, I don't know how many more signs any of us need uh, to finally say, like, we have to be our own guides. Really. If you've not read The Alchemist, this is the time. Even audiobook, um, this is the time. Put on The Alchemist. I like to re-listen to that one every now and again, and I think it's time again. Um, so wakey wakey America, we're at war again. And, so my brother called me. He's transitioning through Charles de Gaulle and on his way to Eastern Europe, and he's like, "Oh, looks like we're at war." Hmm. I have a lot of thoughts, but let's refocus Because again, unless you have I wrote about this in a post after Venezuela where, I talked about the world being on fire, and actually this is a good time for to be innovative. And I gave different stories about how people, even during times of uncertainty, still tried their best with the tools that they had and the access they had to position themselves for the life they still wanted, you know? So even though sometimes it just feels like we're feeling around in the dark. Like, "All right, what's next?" Well, these headlines really have us looking like, I don't know, like, totally clueless. I don't know, deer in headlights, I should say. Um, but like I said in that post Venezuela was maybe it was during Venezuela, like, right in the no, I think it was post, just, like, a few days after. Things feel uncertain, but that's actually the time to position yourself. If you do not have access to the big red button, if you can't make a call to the person with the big red button, if you're not in a foreign ministry, if you are not on security councils, if you're not on a board of peace, etc., um, if you're not right in the hot center of the conflict, I am sorry, but the everyday person, can protest and we can definitely like reach out to congressional members, but unless you're a pundit, I don't like how can you make we can't how can I say it? We can't spend all of our time and our energy doom scrolling. We can't spend all our time and our energy glued to the headlines. Um, we just can't. And even like honestly, even debating to a degree, it's only like so helpful. Debating with friends, over cocktails or beer or coffee or like only so much, only so much, folks. We have got to regain our energy. This is like it's just like a conflation of things. It's like, okay, this era of chaos, but then again, can argue there's always been chaos, yeah. But then we have these little things called smartphones that allow us to constantly know what's happening. Unless we really design that phone in a certain way, it's like we're always informed. We always know what's going on. I mean, I don't. You know what? I technically probably don't need to even ever follow any news whatsoever. I think just in the group chats that I'm in, um, I get enough news of what's going on and just how well connected we are to each other, how easy it is for us to get in touch with each other, to how easy it is for us to share information. That's enough. I don't even have to watch the news. Even back in the days of going to an office, like you could just go to, for a coffee break and hear the news. So you don't even really have to go out there or even turn on the news or buy any publication to know what the heck's happening or be on any social media. You just be existing and be in different groups and have friends and have some family and just know. Even your neighbor taking the trash out. You're like, oh, see what happened? They're wrong. Where they're wrong. Like it does. Like you can't hide. You can't hide from the news. Um, but my point being, we do have to. Okay, we could take the tea and get the tea. Mm-hmm. And get the tea. Say a prayer. Prayer for peace. Prayer for calm. Prayer for victims and like just people who are just totally innocent in this. Um, Pray for protection. But then, meditation, whatever it is that works for you to just kind of like regulate that nervous system, and also just put the good vibes out there for our fellow human. Just hoping for cooler heads to prevail. And then honestly, we have got to reclaim our energy and our time. We got to convert it into other things. Got to What else was on your to-do list today? What else did you want to achieve by the end of this week? What else did you want to achieve by the end of this month? Right? When the last day of the month, were you able to meet your goals? Because it looks like some other folks, they're meeting their goals for this month, right? We see it all over the news, all over in the headlines. They're doing what they want to do. They're getting things done that's on their to-do list, you know? Not like we were consulted, but my point is, okay, you saw what was going on. Now what? Now what else was planned for today, this week, this month, etc., this season, you know? Those of us in the global north, we're starting to kind of, get into springtime, which is great. But what were your goals for the winter? What did you have planned? Did you do the thing? We have like a month left before spring. Did we achieve things that we wanted to do? So this is really what I want people to think about this weekend as the headlines and the subject is dominating chat. What do you think to yourself? Okay, what have I done? What do I want to do still? You know? And in this time of chaos, does it make me nervous about trying to achieve certain things? Do I feel like really be conscious about yourself and your feelings right now? Do I feel with this news? It's hard. And I'm not really talking about people in the Gulf region right now because that's GCC is sensitive right now, super sensitive. But outside of the GCC, with this news, did I feel paralyzed? Like, did I feel like frozen in place? Did I feel like I couldn't move forward with certain things that I had planned? What are my worries right now? Um, I don't know about you, but I did think to myself, of course, of reaching out to anyone I know who might be in that region or who has family in that region. I think that's important to take time to do that. But otherwise, what else came up for you when you saw that news? Did you feel like, I know it's a bit navel gazing, but we already went through kind of the macros of being pulled into a war that I think 99% of us didn't ask for. Um, and I have a lot to say, but this is just not, I don't understand. Anyway, I just don't understand how the diaspora who want regime change really thinks it's everyone else's responsibility to change their country. Like what? Like I would like if I wanted regime change in the United States, I wouldn't be looking to Canadians to do it. I don't know. Like I wouldn't be looking for other people to come change my regime. Nothing's for free. Free lunch. Anyway, that's a caveat. We pull it back. You see, it's not easy to do. It's not. It's not easy to stay the course. And there's just a lot going on. But um yeah, just think to yourself, is there anything that made me feel like I froze, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't move forward with XYZ right now. Doesn't make sense to do XYZ. Really just do an assessment, just do an assessment of how you feel. But I'm encouraging you, if your life is not in imminent threat, if the life of your loved ones and close people are not imminent threats, if you do not have access to the big red button, if you cannot call someone who has access to the big red button and make them do a thing, then this, I mean, this chaos will take all of your time. The thing is, time is still moving. It's not stopping for anyone. It's really not. It's not slowing down whatsoever. So There's one thing we have control over, right? We can't control, you know, the way the system's set up, um, we really can't control everything, obviously. And what we can control is just it really is a matter of um having to turn inward, really having to turn inward and tend to your garden. And, um, I know it sounds callous, but that's not really where it's coming from. It's just coming from a place of like, you don't want to look up in 1, 3, 5, 10 years and see how you've not accomplished anything because you got sucked in completely by things that you didn't have any real power or authority over. So just be mindful. Mm, and again, if you want to read some case studies about people who persevered despite uncertainty, geopolitical uncertainty, yeah, I have I have my post. Maybe I'll put it in the description here later. Um, yeah, world on fire. It's a great time to innovate. And one more thing, kind of going back to what I was talking about when I first got on. Uh, this week, this week, I hit an inflection point. I feel like inflection points are like moving at quantum speed. I feel like every week there's an inflection point now. It used to be like inflection point felt like for me, at least my life, it felt like every I don't know, couple of years maybe, at the most couple of months. But now in the AI era, it feels like it's like every week I have a point where I'm like, okay, let me explain to y'all. Mm, this week, so I applied for something and I can't say I can't say that I am looking for a job, like an FTE, like a full-time employee position, nothing. I'm not job hunting. No. But when I see interesting opportunities come up that have some flexibility to them, it's more, more fluid, like roles as a fellow or roles as advisor, board member, things like that, a bit more fluid, not super rigid like full-time employee, but they're in alignment with what I want to do and all that. I'm always open. I'm open to exploring and just seeing, let's just see where it goes, right? And I had a realization. So I was asked to do a case study that required knowledge, like in the traditional way, right? Like a knowledge worker, it's something a knowledge worker would do, right? So it was like to put together a memo, but it was completely based on data and, just like traditional hardcore data. They make an analysis and voila. Normally, a deliverable like that absolutely costs easily 2,000 to 4,000, 6,000 euros, frankly. And well, obviously, they were not going to pay me that for the case study because it was like a real world one. It wasn't hypothetical. It was a real world one where it was like, you could very well use this. Like, this is real work. This is a real consultant deliverable, But no matter, that's not the point. The point is, I was working on it, and this is the type of work I was doing in London back in the day, and was like paid in an office to do it, right? And would take some time. It wasn't really something that would be like eked out in like an afternoon or anything. It would take some time to get it all right. And I realized that Claude could do it. Claude AI, basically Anthropic's ChatGPT. I realized that Claude could do it in, I don't know, 160 seconds. This 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 euro deliverable. Claude could do it like that, okay? And but I already knew this, but I was like, "Let me just play around and see." Let me just tinker. Mm, I love to tinker on a tool. Let me just tinker. So let me just tinker. So it did the thing, and it was absolutely I'm telling y'all, it was absolutely fabulous. I read through it, combed through it with a fine-tooth comb, like, let me just see anything where Claude is just like, my gosh. Yo, I went through it, and I was like, "This is we're in trouble." We're in some good trouble. We are in some good trouble. I went through it, I was like, "I'm sorry, but there's, like, nothing more to add. There's nothing really more." I mean, I could have added some analysis on, what I think about in terms of AI security risks, AI data and security risks, I could have added that, but that's a cost. That's a cost. That's a consultant deliverable. That's an advisory deliverable. And I was like, Lord, it was just good. There was nothing more to like, okay, I can make some stylistic edits, but substantively speaking, that thing delivered. I'm sorry, it delivered. And here's the thing. And I was like, you know what? I wrestled with this for a couple days. Like I was like, oh shit. What should I do? Like, let me really think about this. So I gave myself a couple days. And when it came to the deadline, I said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it a stat. I'm going to keep it a buck 55. And I told them, I was transparent. I said, listen, in transparency, I developed this using Claude, Anthropic's AI platform, and just flagging this because normally a deliverable like this costs 2,000 euros and up. And more than glad in subsequent conversation, not deliverable, but conversation, glad to talk through, my thoughts on AI and data and all of that. Um, I'm sure they didn't really know what to think either, because one of their theses was very much wanting to focus on AI technologies, right? So they must be fully aware of where the industry is and where these tools are. And it's just kind of a bizarre place to be, I think, for me and for them as the employers, as the business, as, hiring and scaling up and thinking through like what do we do? Somebody just told us that what we're hiring for cannot be done by Claude when it usually will cost like, 2,000 plus. The woman who received the email is probably also thinking, because I think she does similar work, is also thinking, wait, what? It costs this much and it would cost this much to do this work, and you're telling me that you were able to do it using this platform. Maybe she's not, maybe she is or isn't using the platform. I don't know. But but somebody's being transparent that they used it. I don't think anyone knows what to think. I don't know what to think. They don't know what to think. We're at an inflection point. We're at an inflection point. And I saw someone else in the ecosystem, they also put a job description out and they were looking for someone and they said, "Oh, don't send anything. Um, don't send anything produced by, AI because, we want to build trust with the partners, da da da." I get it, but it made me think. It made me think. Because then I can see someone else in the investment space talking big about like, listen, AI is helping us do this in investing. AI is helping us do that. AI is gonna da da da. And like they're like, listen, we're using these tools to, deploy capital faster and blah blah blah. And like you all should be using it if you want to get your capital out fast. So it's I think I think, 'cause my brain is just swirling about all this stuff all the time. I think that, number 1, I personally, if I were looking to be an FTE, I don't I don't have the heart right now for it, but I don't mind, doing, like I said, fellow advisor. But if I were on the job hunt looking to be a full-time employee, I would honestly, knowing what I know about AI in the future and just me trying to be the biggest tech optimist I can be, trying to hold on, tech optimism, and we'll get back to that too. I wanna talk about, um, Anthropic CEO Daria. Get back to that. There's too many tabs open right now. Okay. If I were looking to be an FTE, if I were job hunting right now, I would wanna work with the boss who's like, "We're using AI in here, up in here, and I don't give a hootenanny, and I'm about being efficient and getting it done, and what I really need from you is to cultivate your face-to-face external relations, external facing partnership, development skills, right? Your external communication skills. That's what I need from you. I need the person to person from you. The the traditional knowledge worker stuff of collating data and then making an analysis of this data, we've got we've got an intern, super intern called Claude who's handling that, and they're handling it at a fraction of the cost, fraction of the speed, like everything, fraction of the time. So don't worry your little pretty head about about that, about data collating and making analysis and putting it in some output communication. We've got someone who does that now, and we're not ashamed about it. Okay? I want you to cultivate and really hone in on all the person to person, face to face stuff. That's what I need you to be doing. So, in my dreamlands, these people who I sent this deliverable to, this case study deliverable to, I'd love for them to write back to me and say, Naty, Natasha, we are so happy that you were transparent. Because I said in transparency, I used, AI. We love that you were transparent because we're also all about efficiency right now, and we're wanting to invest in AI, and that means we know how to use it, and we're using it in a way that is really, helping us move our mission forward faster and in a more lean way. And so, wonderful. We are in alignment here. Like you are doing exactly what we're doing, and we encourage people to do who are, working for us, and you just got the right mindset for the future, right? Got the future mindset. Fabulous. Let's work together. And I do wonder, these people who are kind of resisting AI, uh, I don't know where they're going to be in a few years. Like, these people are putting out job descriptions and saying, we don't want to see AI. And granted, there are just certain aspects of work where, yes, it's more, again, like I said, the more personal relationships, it's better to cultivate like your humanness. But if you're just anti AI across the board because you believe that everyone should just, in all roles, should just be like hardcore grit, like the old days, like the old paradigm. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think your firm's gonna make it. I don't think your firm's gonna make it. Like, you're not gonna be able to compete for long. And you got folks coming up now who they're in school and they they know how to use AI. They're AI native. And then you're gonna be telling them not to. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, maybe some boomer days when when people are like, we still use the fax machine. Like, don't call them. Like, Don't use email, that's impersonal. You need to call them on the phone." It's like, "Okay." Mhm. Like, "Okay, boomer." So, maybe even silent generation, sheesh. Um, so yeah, this week I just felt like an inflection point, like, okay, it kinda became clear to me. I would rather if I'm gonna do full-time employee again, I would rather work for that investor who is saying, like, "Let's free AI is freaking amazing. It's helping us do this and this, and we getting stuff done, and we're doing the job. We are focused on our mission, and AI is helping us get there. Like, this is amazing. I want to teach y'all also how to, how really to leverage these tools so, we can all play the game faster, I'd rather work with that person who's embracing it and just been like, "The future is here, man. Like, get on the train," And I do understand people's reservations. I do. But people who are resisting it, I just don't know where you're gonna go. I feel like it's swimming up a creek, you know? Um, so we shall see how it plays out. Let's see how these people respond. Maybe they won't respond to me at all. Maybe they'll just write me off as fake and phony and da da da. I don't know. But if they want to invest in AI, like, welcome to AI. Like, this is, excuse me, the reality of where the sector is right now. It's moving fast, it's changing fast. Um, and we shall see. We shall see. Um, quickly, I don't want to stay on too long because we are getting into Afro hour, and it would be nice for me to get a little snack before dinner time. But quickly, earlier this week too, maybe I'll post about it. Um, oh, and I will post about I did an interview with one of with a Swiss magazine, like a Swiss family magazine. Uh, how can I a Swiss French are they Catholic? Yeah, Swiss French Catholic magazine. I did an interview with them. I connected with them in Davos. I did an interview with them, and the hard copy of the magazine came in the mail last week. I'm very happy to see it, and I will post it. It's in French. I'll try and post some bits from the interview, and I'll translate it. But I was just talking about the reality of how I feel about AI on a spiritual level, on a yeah, on a super spiritual plane. So I'll post some of that, but I'm really happy about that, how that came out, and just everyone I met uh, through Davos and through that connection. And was yeah, just completely aligned with how I feel that a lot of these risks to teenagers and children with artificial intelligence, family, they are the first guard. They are the first guard. You can wait for the tech companies, you can wait for policymakers and government to regulate, but family is the first cause to protect women, children, and teenagers. So anyway, yeah, I wrote about that in the or discussed that in the interview, and then so I'll share that sooner rather than later. And also last Monday, I want to share a little bit more. Last Monday, some AI ethicists and AI safety folks were in town, um, from London, from Germany, from really all over Dublin. There was an AI safety and ethics conference here in Paris during the week, and so Monday, Deeply Human Innovation, they had an event here in Paris, and it was so great to connect with the co-founders and spend time with them and have someone from my lab also join, which was great. Um, and we were just able to ask some it was like a dinner, it was like a soiree, but also very intentional in terms of how we had time to discuss the more existential questions about AI and meaning and human-centered AI and human flourishing in the age of artificial intelligence. So I want to add more of my reflections about that later in the week. But I just want to assure everyone, are there a lot of things to be worried about with AI? Yes. A lot of risks, a lot of things to be freaked out about. But just know behind the scenes, whether they're getting a lot of attention or not, there are AI ethicists and folks who are organizing, they're convening, they're discussing, they're connecting to find ways to ensure that we don't blow ourselves up with this thing. To try to, like scale back, hold the line, however you want to put it. There are people who are deeply concerned and they're really trying to collaborate and work together um across different regions. I think the most difficult region though for any Western to collaborate with, especially an American, is Chinese. It's like they have their own what it looks like from out here is they have their own everything. China is like with AI regulation, safety, it just feels like so opaque. Like I can't see into what they're doing. But what I hear is that China, because of the way their system is anyway, I hear that they are developing their AI in a way that benefits their society first and foremost. Like they really give a hootenanny about protecting their people, and they're not market first. And so I'm hearing just little whispers that they're not market first, and they really are trying to ensure that their folks really do benefit from AI. And I know there's gonna be somebody, wow, they're surveilling the people. I don't even know what to believe anymore, when it comes to what I hear about certain nations. I don't even know. I don't know. But let me not go too much there because I really don't know much about like anything at all about China and AI. But I know that when people talk about like AI global governance, AI global policies, AI global strategy, it's like there's US, there are like two poles, right? US and there's China and there's like nothing else. As if, you know? That's what it sounds like to me. Even being in Europe, and there's a lot of talk about tech sovereignty in Europe and all that. But yeah, we had some amazing discussions about all of this during the Deeply Human Innovation event. Um, it was like a salon of sorts. We were able to discuss everything, everything. And the truth is, not everybody who's in the AI space is anti AI. No, that's not the case. Not everyone's a doomer who's screaming outside on a soapbox with a bullhorn. That's not true. A lot of people, they see the benefits of it, etc., but they feel like someone's got to do something about the risks. Like not everyone is in the mode of like hyperscale. People are like, okay, yeah, hyperscale, but dang, like let's also be cautious here, and try to still center humans and all the things that make humans and humanity great. So yeah, it was really heartening to be in a room like that with other people who care deeply about preserving all the fabulosity of human life, being human. And we have our challenges, trust. We have our challenges, obviously. But yeah, that's just to try and put you at ease a little bit that yes, there's a lot of risk with AI, but there are a lot of people who are working on this. And actually the Paris conference on AI safety and ethics, it came straight after there was a big AI summit in India, in New Delhi, like the week prior. And so a lot of those folks had actually been in India as well. And so we were getting like all the tea about what's going on in India at the Indian summit. And, just know a little birdie told me that a journalist confessed that, hey, the doom headlines get the clicks. You know what I mean? Um, and again, it's not to dismiss risks, but they know they know how to mess with us mentally. They know how to mess with us. Um, but yeah, I hope that puts you at ease a little bit. There are people convening all the time. They're not ending up in the news. You're not hearing about us. You're not seeing us all the time. Might not be seeing them in your feed, but people are convening behind the scenes. People are getting together. I also joined like this other women in AI safety and ethics group as well. So excited to engage with that. And look, I don't have a label. Like I'm in a place now where I'm like, I'm just a human observing humans and coming up with hypotheses and, you know, I'll just tell you what I think after after some observation or research or whatever. I consider myself more of an interdisciplinary scientist now than an innovation researcher, than an AI ethicist in particular. But uh, but I am interested in spaces where people are tech optimists, and I'm interested in spaces where people are still very human centered and also considering, planetary needs. Though I think I'm better with the human stuff than the planet stuff, if I'm honest. I'll leave it at that. But the people who really know the planet stuff, they absolutely have the role. They have the role in this idea of well-being and flourishing. So let them do their thing. I'm not gonna speak for them. But also if it's heartening for anyone. So Dario, I can never remember how to say his surname. It's an Italian surname, but he is the CEO of Anthropic. That's the that's the platform. I mean, that's the company that Claude's under. Anthropic. Maybe you saw this in the news, but he was getting a lot of pressure from the Pentagon to basically have like no guardrails with his company and their AI's ability to like for the like how can I put this gently? For the Pentagon to just do whatever the F they want, whatever the fudge they want to do with his AI. Okay. And Dario, he got called up to what they're calling Department of War. I thought it was called Department of Defense. Did something change, or are they being cheeky? Is it being a little bit tongue in cheek? But I want to put his statement in the show notes too. But he got called up to what I used to call Pentagon, now Department of War, whatever. He got called up by Washington and to have a little chat because they want no guardrails. None. They want no guardrails. And he was like, yeah, but actually, I do have some boundaries here. Okay. I do. And he said no. I think there was like a $200 million deal with the Pentagon on the line with it, but he can make that back. Like, it's okay. You can make it back. And I'm sure he realized that. And that's part of why he just said, I can't allow you all to do whatever you want with this technology. I'm sorry. Like, I've got to put limits here. I've got a conscience here. I've got some boundaries. And I thought to myself, I know at some point he's like, I miss academia. Because he used to be a postdoc in Stanford. He used to do like biology or something. And it's just, isn't it funny how where life takes you? Like one day you're in a lab doing your research, having a little coffee break, the lab mates, and next thing you're getting called to Department of War to be allowed to do whatever, to be, to basically just give all your company's rights away so the Pentagon can just do whatever they want. I don't think I'm articulating that very well. I'm not articulating that very well, but I'll put the post. I'll put a link to his statement that he made February 26th. But that was also heartening, you know? These are things that can keep us optimistic. These are things that can keep us optimistic, I like to think, is just that there are people, okay, we're not perfect, but every now and then you just get that light bulb that's like, man, I'm sorry. We got to do the right thing here. We've got to do the right thing. And I'm willing to lose money over it. I'm willing to, piss some people off. And I got to stand my ground. I'm a man. I'm standing my ground. So good on Dario. Good on him. Good on Anthropic for that. And I know there are plenty of other criticisms about Anthropic, plenty. But okay, I mean, he's got one thing right then, fine. He's got one thing right. Um, if you want to criticize him for everything, like isn't it kind of hard to find that perfect human who's just done it all right all the time? But where we can get some wins, I guess my point is, where we can get some wins, let's get them. Let's focus on them. Let's amplify them because they do stand as an example for other people. So I'd like to think that him coming out with that statement, that Anthropic saying, no, we don't want our technology to be able to be used for like mass surveillance and, you know, um, deployed, what is the language that was used? But deployed autonomously. By putting out that language, I would like to think that that planted a seed in so many other AI startups all over the world that told them it's okay to do the right thing despite any pressure from powers that be. It's okay to do the right thing, and I will live to see another day, and a lot of people will support me and have my back, and they will celebrate that I made the right conscious decision and I stood my ground, put up my boundary, I held the line. So we don't know the ripple effect. It might be a very positive ripple effect for him to have done that and put that post out, that statement out publicly. So let's try to celebrate good decisions and good decision making where we can. And I think it further encourages not only that individual, but other folks in the ecosystem. So I was really, really happy to see that. All is not lost. All is not lost. Maybe we are able to turn the ship, you know, and make sure AI is being built in a way that allows the humans and planet to flourish somehow, some way. So I think that's it for me right now. There's always a lot on my mind, and I can't write fast enough, and I need breaks from screens. But there's a lot going on right now, per usual. Um, and yeah, I just hope everyone takes good care of themselves, their mental health, check in with friends, check in with family, loved ones who might be feeling or might generally be directly affected by what's going on right now, what we're seeing in the news. Um, but yeah, that's it for me. I don't think I have anything else. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Bisous, bisous from Paris. And yep, talk soon.